Good morning, everybody. Grantsburg Republican running for Assembly in Wisconsin's 75th Assembly District. Duke Tucker is our very special guest today, Thursday, May 2nd, 2024. A special thank you to some of our recent guests, including Congressman Tom Tiffany, Senator Romaine Quinn, former Assembly Representative Attorney Adam Jarkow, Ignite Dispensaries Timothy Fry, AFP Wisconsin State Director Megan Novak, and of course, Barron County Sheriff Chris Fitzgerald, who joins me every Tuesday for our weekly Positive Tuesday with Ben and Fitzy show. A reminder, tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd, President of Business Operations for the Milwaukee Brewers, Rick Schlesinger. Does anybody get that reference? Have you ever watched the old James Bond movies, Goldfinger? Whatever. He'll be joining us tomorrow morning at 8:30 a.m. But today we're chatting with candidate for the 75th Assembly District, the man with the greatest name since John Wayne, Duke Tucker. Duke, thanks for coming on. How are you this morning?
I'm doing really good, Ben. Put out some signs this morning, went to work for an hour or so, and just happy to be on your show today.
Already, it's 8:30 in the morning. What did you do this morning? Well,
I got up this morning. I got a message from a supporter saying, hey, we'd love to have a sign in our yard for the fishing opener on the lakeside. And I'm like, hey, I'll drop one off this morning. So I went out and put a couple of those out and went to work.
Are you like one of those eager beavers? The ones get up early and get stuff done, overachiever people? We don't like those. You make the rest of us look bad.
Oh, I don't know. We all got the same amount of time. It's just what you choose to do with it.
Oh, boy. Here we go. You sound like my dad telling me how I'm supposed to. I love it. Well, so you're running, which is weird. You're running in the 75th, but that's what now? Burnett and Polk counties. Is that right?
Yeah, it's all of Polk County and most of Burnett. The only townships in Burnett that are not included are Webb Lake, Swiss, and Blaine Township.
All right. And perfect timing. Right on cue there, Representative Gabe Magnifici. Good morning, Gay. So that's the weird part. So the 75th used to be, well, I'm not going to get into the whole what it used to be, but you're running because Representative Gabe Magnifici announced that she wasn't seeking re-election, but that's currently the 28th Assembly District, but now it's the 75th Assembly District. So that's just totally weird. I'm still trying to figure out like who our representatives are going to be in our area that we cover. But before we get in all of that, first time guest on, we always like to kind of just start with getting to know you. So let's start there. Let's go back quite a ways. Where were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in St. Croix Falls, and my folks lived in Cushing at the time. And then they bought their first home. I have an older sister named Sherry, who I call Shub. And, was raised in Trade Lake Township, rode a lot of motorcycles as a kid. We had chickens and pigs. I was a farmhand for a few farmers in the area. Really loved farming a lot. My mom and dad, they raised us, I think, with pretty good values and to work hard. And, out of high school, I played a couple of sports in high school. I was no athlete, no great athlete by any means, but I worked hard. Went to service out of high school, went into the Air Force after some advice from an uncle of mine. Happens to be my mom is the oldest of 14 kids, and military tradition is very, very strong in that side of the family. And 3 of them went in the Marine Corps, and they used to beat the crap out of me a lot when I was a kid. And I thought about going that direction, and they gave me the advice and said, you're a smart kid on an honor roll. Why don't you go in the Air Force or something like that and learn a trade that you can do and raise a family?
Well, real quick, any specific reason why the Air Force? That must be a tough decision. There's obviously multiple different paths you could have gone down. Why the Air Force?
Well, I already knew I was tough enough from getting beat up by them all the time. Marines are known to be darn tough. But Air Force wise, they had the career field I wanted. You could still serve your country and do any sort of job in the military. And actually, what I do today is what I did in the Air Force,
which is
communications. So
communications. Okay.
Yep.
Well, I can see why that would be Air Force. That does make sense.
Yeah.
You don't want planes flying into each other, I guess.
Yeah. Well, not everybody in the Air Force flies. I did communications work. Did a lot of circuits for ICBM missiles in California. Did a lot of maintenance on that sort of thing. Deployed to Desert Shield, Desert Storm back in January of 1991. And that was an experience that changed my life. And I served as a combat communication specialist over there. And those experiences really help you out to know who you are and to help you know you can live wherever you want. do anything you want to, you can accomplish anything that you put your mind to. But the thing is, I got out of the service and took a job in Eau Claire. I put in business telephone systems and voicemail systems, computer networking down there for about 4 years. And then I was able to get in at the telephone company in Grantsburg.
Oh,
I've
wow.
been there for about 28 years. Great crew there. I mean, I work with such a great crew of people that, they care about service and doing a good job. So that's cool. But in all those years, I married another gal from Grantsburg. We started dating when I was living in Eau Claire. And we have two daughters, Hope and Olivia. They're 27 and 25. And, they're adults, obviously. And our oldest daughter, Hope, and her husband, Dan, gave us our first grandkid here about 9 months ago today,
What?
actually.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's cool. It's really cool. But, through that 28 years, I mean, it's not just me. I mean, there's lots of people in the community that serve the community in many ways. And my wife even volunteers for a lot of stuff. But I don't know. I was asked to represent the company in the Chamber of Commerce. So I'd show up there with 30 boots and go to the meetings. And eventually, I think I was late to a meeting and they made me the president when I wasn't even there. And, so that's kind of how that works,
Well, ironically, so I'm on the Washington County Board now, and I'm on this committee. It doesn't matter what the committee is. Point is, we had met a couple days ago, and one person wasn't there, and that person is now the first vice chair.
Yeah.
Voted unanimously.
But, I mean, it is an honor when people think of you that way.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I did that. And, you head up the community events and those sort of things.
Yeah. Hey, can I go back to something here? You had said that you were a combat communications specialist.
Mm-hmm.
What did you do? Give us obviously that's like a 2 hour long talk right there.
Well, I'm not going to go too crazy about some of the experiences I had there, but I will tell you it involved everything from providing security for contractors to provisioning secret communications equipment to being the guy that, and if there was activity going on, you'd maybe be the guy with the radio on your back. So there's a wide array of different experiences there. I volunteered a lot if there was downtime. I cleaned up after convoys with troops leaving Kuwait, and that's quite an experience. All the burning oil fields and those sort of things. I mean, experienced their culture over there in ways that most people probably wouldn't be able to understand, and I won't share. But yeah, good experience. And that being said, I mean, I'm not formally educated, but the education I do have is something that can't be purchased.
Yeah. And I just want to say good morning, Carol. She had put in the comments, good morning, New Dreadwire. Just let you know, Carol and everybody else, feel free to put any questions or comments in the comment section, I suppose. So if you have a question for our guest today or just anything that you would like to share, whatever that is, please feel free to put that in. So you're currently in Grantsburg.
Yep.
And it's telecom. What is this again?
Well, Grantsburg Telecom, traditionally it's been called Farmers Independent Telephone, but that's not a real catchy name these days. But the company was actually started by farmers many years ago. That farmers that want to service out in rural areas, so that's why I took on that name. But generally, the crew that I had up there, I'm the operations manager. We're really involved in deploying fiber optic to the home right now. That is the name of the game.
It is.
It's fiber optic is a pretty neat medium to communicate on. But I think, I'm going to retire. I'm just short of 2 years from retirement from there right now. And I enjoy going to work every day. And I think I drive people crazy sometimes because I do enjoy going to work. But the reality is, in 2 years, I mean, we'll probably have all of our coax shut off for cable modems and our copper cable shut off for DSL, and it'll be all on fiber, and it'll be a great time for me to move on to something else. So,
in case anybody's confused about why you're on, they can just look at your hat in the background. I think that kind of gives it away. It's almost like that was on purpose. That's interesting. Duke Tuck. I love it.
Well, Ben, you mentioned those things in the background, and if you have me on your show, I'm going to use every tool I have to be elected.
Well, shoot, I got a Dreadwire shirt on and a Dreadwire logo at the bottom. I mean, yeah, it's a little shameless self-promotion. That's fine. It is what it is. Hey, look at you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Good morning, Steve. Thanks for joining us. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. So where are we? We are, kind of where you are now. So we're actually a little ahead of schedule. We usually kind of go through a little bit more of your history, but I really do want to know, when it comes to, you decided to run for assembly, and that was Representative Gay Magnifici announced that she wasn't running. Would that have made a difference for you? Actually, let me back up. Did you just wake up one day and say, I know what I want to do? I want to run for politics. I want to be a politician. I want to be an assembly representative, and I don't care who's in there. This is what I want to do. Did you have to get talked into it? Was it a long discussion with your family? How did this all transpire?
Well, I guess it's not that complicated, but I will tell you, it's never been a career objective for me to run for public office. And if Gay was to rerun, there is no chance that I would have jumped into the race because she does a great job for us.
Gay's awesome.
And that's the truth because, we're going to talk about other people, I'm sure, like Romaine Quinn and Adam Jarko and Gay and Rob Stafsholt and what have you. But the reality is, yeah.
Awesome. I love it. As long as we can do it while we're making fun of them. I love it.
I like making fun of them too. But the thing is, for many years, I never even allowed political signs in my yard because I think my political views are mine. They don't necessarily be shared with everyone. But a lot of times I think people with somewhat conservative views are quiet about their views, and that's got to change. We've got to be more involved. And within the last few years, I've gotten into a project. It's regarding private property rights and drinking water quality. And every one of those, what I'll call politicians that I mentioned, has sat at my kitchen table without being, me giving them lots of money or whatever it is for their campaigns, because they actually care about the people that are being affected. And when I see that kind of representation, and a friend of mine called me and mentioned that Gay was maybe going to retire, I'm like, oh, geez, I think what they do is really cool. And, politicians are supposed to be respected for being people that serve with honesty and integrity.
Agreed.
And, I'm not going to, I think when I go to somebody's door right now and I knock on, I tell them I'm proud to be a politician, they will fall over. But, the thing is, we're supposed to represent the people. I have my core belief system, but we're supposed to represent them. So, just that alone, that was enough to throw me into the race and talk to my family. And to be honest, I think my family would like it if I just stayed home more. But, the thing is, they're very supportive because they know it's something that I feel I got to do. So,
yeah. Renee, good morning. And yeah, I was thinking about you, Renee. So Renee is, she always comments on her show. She watches all of them, but I haven't seen you, Renee, for like 3 weeks. So we're going to have to catch up offline to find out what's going on. Hopefully all your health is good, but we've missed you. Absolutely have missed you, Renee. So you made this, when you talked to your wife, was that a supportive thing? You just said that it's kind of the probably wish you to stay home more, etc. But was it you have to kind of talk her into it? Or was she a little more supportive? Where was that? Whatever you can share. Whatever you dare share.
The thing is, when you get married, you're one person basically, and
Right.
We're supportive of each other no matter what we do. And she's actually gone on vacation right now to South Padre Island there down in Texas. So she's doing good.
Who vacations in Texas?
Well, she headed off with Tammy Ince down there to have a little vacation, so it's going okay.
So she knows somebody down there.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm like, it's just a weird destination point. I want to go to Texas. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Well, I think back when she was in college, she went down there on spring break, and now she's
sure.
down with another friend to go back down there and sit on the beach. So
Okay.
yeah, but no, it's been okay because our family, we've been busy. People say to me, well, geez, how are you working full time and still out campaigning and doing this and doing that? But the reality is, ever since we've moved back to town, I've been this busy. It's just that maybe not in the public eye to the point that this is. So it's really not any different. Like I said earlier, we all have the same amount of time. It's just that sometimes people see you doing things and other times they don't.
Mm-hmm. Was when you found out that Representative Magnifici, when Gay was going to not be running for re-election, did you talk to her? Did you call her and say, since you're not, I was thinking about doing it. Do you ask, and did she endorse you? Did you ask for an endorsement? How does that work? Kind of give us a little behind the scenes for people who, most of us don't run for political office. So give us a little behind the scenes on how that worked.
Well, I'm starting to feel like you were on the phone or something listening to me, because when I was called by a friend that just heard rumblings of that, I thought, really? She's going to retire? That's too bad. He said, well, you talked one time about jumping into politics at some point to serve, for the purpose of serving. I'm like, yeah, well, you should consider it. Maybe call her. And I did for a while, and I called her, and yeah, she told me she was thinking about retirement. I said, if I jump in, would you endorse me? She said, 100%. I'm like,
Okay.
well, that's pretty cool. And, if you think about it, there's been some baloney on Facebook about how I'm just being handing off the baton to me and whatever it is.
There is? I want to see that. I love that stuff.
Well, First Amendment support, man, I don't care. That stuff doesn't bother me at all. I got pretty thick skin. But the reality is let's just anybody in a position that served 3 terms respectfully, serving people. Wouldn't you want to know the person that was running
And that's a huge thing. It just is. At the very least, don't at least bang on even like Representative Magnifici. That's usually what it's supposed to do. You're supposed to say this is the person I would that I would endorse. Now, people can take that for whatever they want and make their own decision and vote for whoever they want to vote for. But I don't feel like if you don't actually have now, maybe there just isn't somebody available. But if there is, and you actually truly endorse them and I think you would be good as my successor, then you should do that. I think that's important.
Well, you said it here. I watched your show here 2-3 weeks ago. You had Adam Jarko on.
Yeah, all
he
right.
made the point that maybe I'd bring something different that he did, and then something different that Gay would. Well, yeah, that's the truth. I've never had anybody tell me, "Oh, Duke, you got to have this position," and I think they know better than to tell me that in the first place, because it's about representing the people, all the people, and I think that's probably why I get along with them all, because they're all patriots. They know that it's about representation of people, and they know that I won't do anything but that. So
speaking of Adams, and he was on a couple weeks ago. I think we're talking about the Jarko Mafia. So, hey, speaking of that.
Oh, yeah, I heard that. That's a good term.
Yeah, I love it. We should get T-shirts made. That'd be great. Did you have conversations with him? I thought I saw an email sent from somebody that there was a picture of you, and maybe it was Remain There and Adam. I didn't read what it was about. Obviously, your campaign, but I don't know if it was like an endorsement or not. I didn't actually read through it all. Have you talked to Adam? And if so, it sounds like you've known him for a while. Did you seek counsel from him?
Well, Adam is somebody I've gotten to know a little bit. The first time I met him was in 2018, I think in July. It was about this property rights project that I'm working on. And he came to my house. We had a listening session up at our town hall. It's the first time I met him. He got out of his car, and of course he's scheduled really tight, being a representative at the time and being an attorney too. He got out. We talked for about maybe 5 minutes. We headed up to the town hall. But you just know sometimes when you shake somebody's hand and you look in their eyes, you're like, I didn't know the guy's history at all. But you just know that that's a person that you'd serve in a foxhole with and that they're a patriot. You just know.
Yeah.
And you can be wrong. I've been wrong about people too, but I haven't been wrong about that guy. So he has endorsed my campaign along with, Eric Severson and, of course, Gay and Romaine Quinn and Burnett County Sheriff Tracy Finch. And
hold on a second. Slow down. You're going so fast. Oh, Eric Severson. Now, if I understand, so Gay Magnifici is the current representative. Adam Jarko was before, and then before Adam was Eric Severson, right?
Yep.
Okay.
And I think before him was Mark Pettis.
I don't know who that one is.
Yep.
I'm vaguely familiar with Eric Peterson or Severson. And then you had said, the sheriff, Brent Walk?
No, he hasn't endorsed me.
Oh, Sheriff Tracy Finch.
He's a good guy, and I've talked to him.
Yeah, I like Brent. He's a good guy.
But Tracy Finch is somebody that I've known since I was a kid.
What?
Yeah, we rode the same school bus when I was a kid, and she was a very nice person, but boy, she was tough. You didn't mess with her.
She's a tough cookie. No kidding. She's one of my closest friends. I love her so much. I respect her so much as a person, as a sheriff. She's a wonderful human being.
Yeah. If you haven't met her dad before, he's pretty awesome too.
I haven't.
Yeah, Bruce. Yep.
That's awesome. So getting these endorsements, and I don't know, are endorsements important? Or is it just, that's nice, but it's not going to need them, but it's got to make you feel a little good, right? Someone saying, we like you.
Well, yeah.
Kind of like getting a vote before the election.
Yeah, you want to be endorsed, but I'll tell you, if you're a communist, I don't want your endorsement. Not going to happen. So, but endorsements from those it's an honor. But the best endorsements you can get is when you walk up to somebody's door, knock on it, and talk with them, and they endorse you because they tell their friends. But you know what? When they find out that basically for me, this isn't a career objective, it's a continuation of serving people. I don't need to do this for a job. but I'd like to think that they care about our community. And, I've been really involved in Grantsburg, but the big thing is, it's not just Grantsburg anymore. You got to take in the whole Polk County and Burnett County area as your community. And, we've got long ties in Polk County and Burnett County in my family, and it's pretty neat to have that opportunity.
Who's going to be the senator when this is all finished, after the lines got redone? What Senate district does the 75th now fall under?
Well, it's Romaine Quinn right now in Burnett County, but Rob Stasholt really has Polk County.
That's weird, because I always thought, isn't it like 3 assembly seats for 1 Senate seat? That's how it works, right?
Yes, but
it's so confusing.
I've heard both answers. I've heard that with the election coming up here, like we have a primary on August 13th. Somebody wants to vote for me. They got to vote on August 13th. Yeah. But then November 5th is the general election. I've heard both ways, and I don't actually know which way it's going to be.
Yeah, because like Romaine's on the 25th, but now he's technically in the 23rd, I think, in his based on where he lives, but he's not up for election. So I'm so confused.
Well, they're every 4 years, so
right. But it's just so bizarre. So you're not really sure? I'm not either. I looked at the maps, I'm like, I still don't really understand it. I mean, I know how to read a map, but some people aren't up for election, so how does that work?
I'm going to tell you, I'm going to stay within the bounds what works for me.
Yeah, I know that's smart. Smart.
And if I live in Wisconsin somewhere, it doesn't matter where I live in Wisconsin. If I meet the requirements, I'd represent about 60,000 people. I don't care what 60,000 people it is. You do the best you can to represent those people.
Yeah, I'm a little sad because Rob Stasholt, the senator of the 10th district, is now with the new maps. He is out of our 6 county areas that we kind of focus on: Barron, Burnett, Polk, Russ, Sawyer, and Washburn counties. So now he's not, because up till now he still has Polk. Well, he's going to be losing that, I think. So he's not going to be in our area, which means, we probably don't need him on for shows or run his press releases or guest columns anymore, which is so sad because I love Rob. Rob's awesome.
He'll figure it out. That's his game to worry about. I'll worry about my game.
Yeah. So you said August 13 is the primary. Mm-hmm. You have, I think Romaine he was on last week, and he had said that you have, it's as of now, I think 2 others that are Republicans. And I think he even said he doesn't know of any Democrat that has put their name in. Is that still accurate information that you know of?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
So this could be a primary. Well, even if you do have a Democratic a candidate comes in and there's a general election, obviously you have to get past August 13th, regardless of the right.
Absolutely.
So you have 3 Republicans. And I've been told before that, well, when you have those, they're all the same, right? I'm like, well, that'd be like my wife, Jerusha, before we got married, got courted by 3 guys. And they all wanted to marry her. It's like, well, just pick one. They're all the same. Well, they're not. We all have differences. So what separates you? What is the difference between you? Not separates, but kind of that compare and contrast. Why should people look at you and say, but if you're a Republican, I'm your guy? Or I suppose anything. Democrats can certainly vote for Republicans and independents, etc. But what separates you from the field?
Well, I guess I'll kind of compare it to a car thing because I'm a car guy. You're going to go buy a new car. You could probably buy a new car anywhere, and the car itself is going to be the exact same car if you order it. But if you buy the same car that's used, it really depends on what that car's experiences have been for maintenance and upkeep. Yeah. But, the thing is, when it comes to me and the opponents I do have, I'll first say that you'll never hear me say anything negative about another person because, no, people are tired of that. But the thing is, I'll say that, experience is a big deal. And what your objective is a big deal. And for me, I guess one opponent will say, I care about small towns and you got to save small towns. Well, I'll say, what do you think I've done in the last 28 years? When you're involved in the Chamber of Commerce and heading community events like Watercross and involved in your Legion Post and VFW and coaching girls fast pitch and just many, many things. It's kind of an experience that shows you care about small towns and saving small towns. So I got that pretty well covered. When it comes to the other side, another candidate, well, the big thing is election security and making sure that the people are represented. Well, yeah, I think I got that covered from my military experience. I think people know I'll put my name on the line and I'll tell you, I'll still defend my country with my life. No 2 ways about it. And when it comes to election security, I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I would like to think that everybody thinks their election should be fair and
As I
secure.
say, yeah.
I mean, so it's kind of like I got that covered too. It really comes down to, do you have the ability to sit down with other legislators and bring money back to our district? We pay a lot of money in taxes and so on and so forth. We have to have representation that'll bring as much of that back to our district as possible. And the other thing that really concerns me is education. I mean, I was just at the career fair yesterday at the Grantsburg High School, and I got to speak to principal there a little bit and the staff a little bit, and they're looking forward to having a conversation with me at some point about some of these things and issues they deal with. But one of the things that I see as an outsider looking in is our kids coming out of school. They need to be educated for a goal of employment. I mean, we can't have kids coming out of school that maybe don't even have the ability to have a driver's license. There are some schools that don't even offer driver's ed. If you're going to have a job, you need to have a way to get to and forth from that job. And some really simple things like adding and subtracting and, many, many things. I mean, there are many kids coming out of school that have trouble. And it probably comes back to like the social fabric too. And I'm concerned about our family values. I mean, yeah, I would kind of get in trouble for riding bike on our yard as a kid, but sometimes discipline and responsibility are important so that as you move forward, you show respect for things that people work hard for. And all of those things and family values are the main things I'm running for. And, I can have my core belief system where you're supposed to serve people in politics with honesty and integrity and work hard to achieve things. And, when you work hard to achieve the American dream, and maybe you work extra hard and you're able to have extra things, that's great, but it isn't up to the government to determine how you spend your extra income. And, that's a big deal to me. And I'm running for the right reasons.
So when you've done door knocking.
Yep.
And you've already said that you've had people come to your house and politicians and probably door knock on yours and sit down and talk to you. So you've kind of seen it from the other side. And now you're on this side of being the one knocking on those doors. You have these are the things and my values and things I'm looking at, but what do you hear from the people that so far that you have knocked on doors and had that time where you walk in, you sit down, whether it's maybe you're just at the door for 5 minutes or maybe you sit down and have a cup of coffee in their kitchen table. What are you hearing from them? What are some of the biggest questions that they're saying? Like, what do they ask you? Do they say, well, where are you on marijuana? Or what are some big things that you actually are hearing that you're like, I was a little surprised by that. I didn't realize that these are the things that people want to know about. Do you have any examples?
Oh, I do. It's flat, hands down, the number one issue. People are tired of politicians just blaming each other and screaming at each other, and even the public in general. They want somebody to represent them that knows how to sit down and have a conversation and figure out what is that ground that we can at least agree on to move things forward for people. That is number one. It's far and away the number one thing. But I've been asked about abortion. Well, I mean,
sure,
that kind of them sort of issues too. And I have a lot of educating to do for myself because let's face it, 53-year-old guy, that's never had a baby or menstrual cycle. What am I going to tell you about that? I got to depend on people I know.
Yeah.
So
that is a tough one.
Yeah. But there's everything in between. Education's a big deal. But they're tired of party politics in general. And I'm a Republican, and I'm going to tell you, that's great. I'm a Republican, but I am somebody that can sit down and listen to someone. And so long as they're not asking me to compromise my core values, I'll listen to anyone.
Is that the key? The compromising core values? So you had said at the beginning of the show that you want to representation, your constituents, your district. But what if your district, 80% of them said, we want strip clubs on every corner? And you're like, well, I'm sorry, I just actually assumed that that's something that you wouldn't want, but maybe it is. So there you go. Or just something crazy. Like, we would think it's fine if you just again, pick anything random that you can think of that you're like, no, I don't think that's a good idea. But you know what? 80% of my constituents say that's what they want. So do you do it because that's what they want, or do you not do it because you don't want to do it? Have you thought about what that balance is going to be like and what decision you'll have to make?
Sure I have. When it comes down to it, I'll just tell you flat out, we don't need strip clubs.
Okay. That was a bad reference. I couldn't think of anything else that was controversial. Right.
You brought it up, so I'm going to tell you that.
Okay.
When it comes down to it, and I mean this, and I don't think most people actually understand it this way, but I'm maybe different than most people. There should be probably half a dozen people in the primary. I'm happy to show people who I am. I've been quiet about my political views for most all my time at Grantsburg. I've never coached or anything like that with ramming my thoughts down somebody's throat. But the reality is the people. We should be able to trust the people to elect who they want. And I'll share those things. And if I lose the primary, I'll go home and I'll cut firewood like I do and work on my cars and continue working and serving my community. And I'll have to have faith in the people to know that they selected someone to represent them that'll probably do a better job for me than I would have. And I mean that.
We have a question here from Emily Gall. Good morning, Emily. Duke, what if my family values differ from yours?
Well, if you, I guess if your family values include raising your kids to be drug dealers, we have a problem. But when it comes down to just having honesty and integrity, what you do in your house isn't my business, so long as it doesn't affect someone else. We have way too much government intrusion where government basically teaches people, I think, to not think for themselves. I like people to think for themselves, and I like people to mind their own business when they need to or when they should. So, I mean, that's just that's being an American. It's having an opinion, but we're supposed to be respectful of one another.
So she just actually followed up. Thank you, Emily. She said, hit send too soon. My question is, how difficult is it going to be for you to make space for other people's values in your legislating?
Well, give me an example of what them values are. Call me up, send me an email. I'll come down and sit down and talk with you about it. But, that's a pretty wide open question. Give me an example. What values are we talking about?
And how do people get a hold of you? I think you have a website, Duke for Wisconsin, and I think it's FOR, not the number 4, dukeforwisconsin.com. Is that right?
Yep, and I can be found on Facebook as well.
Okay. So. And there's spots there to get hold of you if there's specific questions.
Yep. I've gotten questions on marijuana legalization.
So, let me ask you about that one, though. Come on. You have to say that one because we love controversy as best we can because I like it outside looking in because it's just humorous to me. Where are you on that topic?
Well, I'll tell you, it's probably not a topic that I'm going to be a person introducing legislation on. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I smoked my first and last cigarette when I was 5 years old. So, I mean, I've never smoked a cigarette. I've never smoked marijuana, so I'm not going to be able to talk about it really intelligently. Sure. But when a bill comes out, I'll look that over and I'll talk to a couple people that I've been in touch with about that issue. And I'll probably even talk with Adam and Gay on it to see what they know about it. But the reality is, I'm going to have to see what a bill says first. But I've never been a drug user or smoker.
Well, that's actually really smart because if we're just talking about like where are you on this one topic, well, the thing is, it's like the Supreme Court when things come to them. It's what are they asking us to do? Are they asking us if what they did was legal and according to the Constitution? Then we said yes, or yes or no. We're making a ruling based on what the Assembly brought to us or whatever got brought to us in court. So that's actually not a bad idea. But what's being brought? Is it medical? Is it decriminalizing? And for how long and back? Like you have to kind of look at each one of these and go, I don't really know because nothing has actually been put down on pen and paper.
Mm-hmm. But, you just hit it on the head, though. Some of the bigger issues, like even abortion, most people can't even tell you what the state law is on abortion right now, by the way. But marijuana, any of those, a lot of times people take that issue and they say, well, you're either this or you're that. They don't really look at what the middle really is, and that's maybe where people are. And for me, I'm just going to be honest and say I'm going to read that bill. I'm going to talk to people. I mean, I served on the Grantsburg Library Board with a person that supports legalization of cannabis. I'm sure I'll be talking with that individual as well as another person that messaged with me a few times via Facebook about it. I got a lot of learning to do, but it's mostly learning. It's not so much forcing things down people's throats. It's learning.
So it's May 2nd, so May, June, July, so about 3 months, just over 3 months. You have your own life, you have your work and your career, but you still need to be a candidate. Mm-hmm. What is your plan? More door knocking?
Definitely more door knocking. I have a lot of signatures right now, but you never have enough. So, I mean, you have to have your signatures turned in.
How many do you have to get for assembly?
You have a minimum of 200 actually verified good ones.
That's it?
Yeah, that's all. And
I probably want to double that just to be safe.
Yeah. Well, actually here just a couple days ago, I went into work for a few hours and I took some paid time off to go around and get signatures. And I mean, within just a few hours, I had 60 signatures. and just walking around door to door.
Yeah.
I mean, I know everybody in town pretty much, and
Well,
I'm not probably liked by everyone, but I mean, I guess if you're a drug dealer or a thief or whatever, yeah, you're probably not going to like me much. That's okay.
and we seem to have a few of those around. So, but that's all
Well,
right. Here's the good news: they probably don't vote. So,
yeah, well, probably not, but
so
I don't hide who I am from anyone. That's how I am, and we go from there.
Any other big things coming up? Are you going to, I don't know, maybe they're all over now, but stuff like Lincoln Day dinner things or town halls are you putting on? I don't know. Have you anything scheduled coming up that people should know about?
Well, Polk County already had their Lincoln Day dinner. I did appear
Yeah, I
at
think
that.
those are all over now, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like stuff like that.
Yeah. I look forward to speaking engagements. I mean, I get requests quite often to come and meet people at their houses. Other times, I actually was door knocking in Amory the other day, and I was invited to come back after I knocked on a door. The guy texted a bunch of his friends and had me come back, and I visited with him in his garage for a little while that same night. And so that was kind of fun. But some of the other big things I'm doing now is I'm new to the Burnett County Board. And I've been appointed to be on the Health and Human Services Committee as well as the Land
Wait,
Use
you're on the Burnett County Board?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. How did we miss that? Or maybe you told me and I wasn't listening, which
Well,
is likely.
I think I noticed that you're on your board now too.
Yeah,
And
but I ran against nobody, so that was
Yeah.
easy because that's
Well,
my
that was-
favorite way of winning is by default
Yeah.
because it requires zero effort.
I ran unopposed for the District 7 seat, and I went
Sure.
around and got nomination signatures for that. And I didn't intend on doing both of these at the same time. I can handle it.
Oh, right.
And but the thing is, I've learned through my first board meeting that it's going to be a great opportunity to learn more issues about how to help our county and as a whole.
Yeah.
And I'm going to learn more about issues. So that's really a good thing.
Mhm.
It's going to take probably 3 mornings a month to go to these county board meetings and committee meetings. But the reality is, I'll take time off to do those, and I'll learn from them, and it'll be great.
I'm still trying to figure out that Mr. Roberts neighborhood rule of laws or rule of something. I don't know. I can't. When do I say what? Hey, we have a question here from Carol. Actually, not from Carol. Brad asks, using Carol's Facebook page, despite the huge shoes you are filling in the retirement of gay in your devotion to it, what is your opinion of local healthcare issues, in particular the recent closure of maternity parental care in Rice Lake? I think that's a 30 to 60 day temporary hold. I think Representative Armstrong and even Senator Quinn put out things that we published on our website yesterday about their concern that they say 30 to 60 days, but we'll see, right? Because this may not come back up to 30, but that's a very good question, which is again regarding what is your opinion of local health care issues?
Well, I'll tell you that issue that came up in Rice Lake there.
Yeah.
I see a little bit about that in social media, and it's really too bad because even in Grantsburg, Burnett Medical Center, and they had stopped their birthing care here a few years back, and that was a big issue in Grantsburg and area too because we've got to have places for people to have babies.
Right.
And
I think in Washburn County where I don't even think there is a place that you can even have it. So it's just weird to think about. Nobody can be born in this county. Well, that's not true. You can, just not at
right.
a healthcare provider. So in Burnett County, are there any?
Burnett County, I don't know of anywhere you can have a baby. I know St. Croix Falls, I think, is still at it.
Okay.
I mean, where I was born, but
Yeah.
stopped there. Birthing department there a number of years back, and it's a bad thing. We've got to figure out what's going on there. But yeah, local healthcare is a big issue. So
Yeah, and that's the part that. So I'm just trying to play catch up here. When I got the press release from Marshfield, we put that up, and then I saw the statements from Quinn and Armstrong. But that's the one part I don't know, and you'd have to figure that out when you get in there, assuming or if you get in there. What is our role? What could we possibly do? Have you had any of those conversations with anyone? Just trying to learn that, hey, when I'm there, I'd like to know some of this stuff right now. Have you talked to a gay? Have you talked and say, what could we have done? We as in the legislative body, what could we have done to help? Or maybe it is what it is. That's their decision. We have zero input on this.
yeah, if it comes down to public health, I mean, obviously, legislature has to step in and government has to step in. but I have not spoke to anybody about that issue particularly.
It just kind of all happened in the last day or two. Yeah.
Yeah. But legislature. I mean, we're supposed to be representatives of the citizens that you serve, and the assembly. Obviously, there's 99 assembly districts in the state and 33 Senate districts, but I'm only one person of 99, and if government needs to step in to ensure the health and security, I mean, we need to. But private business is another thing. So I don't know the structures of those hospitals, if they're publicly funded or not. But when I talked to a young man that he used to work for us part-time at the phone company that's now in the healthcare industry down in Eau Claire, we talked about the hospitals closing down there, and kind of a serious deal because Medicare, some of the public care avenues we have, they don't pay hospitals the same amount of money for a procedure that a private insurance carrier does. So all of a sudden, private insurance carriers are starting to make contracts with these small clinics outside of a large hospital because they maybe can have services done cheaper. So all of a sudden, hospitals aren't able to bill this inflated amount of money to make up for the lack of revenue from providing the same feature to a Medicare type recipient. So it causes holes in care. So I mean, it's something I'm learning a little bit about, but I really love talking to people that are actually in that industry. Other politicians and stuff, that's probably secondhand news. I'd rather talk to somebody that's right involved.
Hey, you could talk to Mike Shaver, Spooner Health CEO. It's not in your district. And just throwing this out there for no particular reason, Spooner Health. You talk about great health systems. Spooner Health. Hey, speaking of, we'll be back in 15 seconds after a word from...
Compassion is at the center of everything we do. It's rooted in who we are and why we're here. It unites us as providers, neighbors, and as a community. Learn more at SpoonerHealth.com.
It was a perfect segue, and I forgot to run the commercial earlier, so there you go. All right. What else we're about running out of time here, so what else do you want to make sure that we talk about that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
Well, the big thing is, I think I've already said it, but when a person runs for an office like this, you really got to sit back and look at what their intent is. And for me, many things I've been involved with, people can see that on my website, but it is a continuation of service, and it's something that I take pretty seriously. And look at experience that people have, and when I'm done with my political stint, I'll move on to something else. We'll see how far the people will take me, and we'll go from there. So,
all right, and reminder, that is Duke4Wisconsin.com, DUKEFOR, Wisconsin.com. Duke, it was great getting to know you. Thanks so very much for coming on for the show.
You bet.
Oh, it was awesome. All right. Special thank you to Grantsburg Republican running for Assembly in Wisconsin's 75th Assembly District, Duke Tucker, for taking the time to come on for a chat with us today. Reminder, tomorrow, Friday, May 3rd, President of Business Operations from the Milwaukee Brewers, Rick Schlesinger, will be joining us live at 8:30 a.m. So until then, for DrydenWare.com, saying thank you for watching, and as always, have a blessed day.